What life-changing item can you buy for less than $100? Houseplants. They look great and will make you happy looking after them. I recently bought a Venus flytrap. She caught her first fly today. So proud. I started growing more herbs, and keeping them alive feels like a huge accomplishment. Seeing a new sprout is like a celebration. Rice cooker. That thing kept me fed through a depression when I barely had the energy to get out of bed. Takes less than nothing to get some rice in there and flip the switch. Want something sweet? Throw coconut and sugar in there. You can throw tofu or other protein and ingredients in there with it if you need. Not like it's the healthiest way to be eating, but it's a quick and easy way to prepare more than just rice. 2 pet ducks. You may be tempted to go for one, but trust me, you need 2. And you'll have about $76 left over. Students, what's the funniest thing that happened in remote learning? A girl in my English class accidentally spent a solid 10 minutes talking to her boyfriend with her mic and camera on. She went into some personal life details, but no one wanted to be the one to speak up and tell her. She eventually took out a bomb, which was when another student quickly said, your camera and mic are on. She turned both off without a word. Easily the most awkward case of forgetting about the mic. The professor started talking like he was giving a presentation. After 10 minutes, someone finally pointed out he wasn't sharing his screen. At that point, he just gave up for the day and let us go super early. Professor's internet crashed. The class continued with one guy changing his background to a weather report of some random city. He proceeded to give a legit-sounding news report of the weather. When the professor came back, he finished it off with "Back to you, Professor. What serial killers are still on the loose?" The Ibadan forest killer. They don't know if it was an individual or group, but a motorcyclist was riding through the forest and found an abandoned town, and when he searched through it he found several dead bodies. Happened in 2014, still an unsolved ritualistic killing. The Brabant Killers. A gang who carried out a series of increasingly violent armed robberies in 1980s Belgium which left 28 innocent people dead. Over time, they seemed less interested in the money, which was always small for the extreme risk, and more interested in the killing hostages. In their last known heist, a supermarket was held up and 8 people were murdered. It is believed the police shot one of the killers when they were making a getaway, although no body has ever been found. After this, the killings and robberies stopped. The killers have never been identified, which has led to various conspiracy theories. They seem to have military training and had access to high-power automatic weapons from an early heist on an armory about which there were suspicions of collusion. What superstition do you believe that is true? Every sock that goes missing when I'm doing laundry turns into a spare Tupperware lid. When you work in food service and it's slow, so you decide to make yourself something to eat, as soon as you finish making it you will get a huge rush and won't be able to eat until your food has gone cold. My mother will only call when it is the absolute most inconvenient time possible. If you're splitting the atom with your right hand and curing cancer with your left, while looking for your car keys because you're late for a meeting with the governor and the phone rings, it's my mother. What was the worst job interview you've had? At an interview for a tech startup, they asked me, if you could be any animal, what would you be? I answered otter because fun, active, they work well with their hands and they're cute. They actually debated hiring me based on that answer because they said, we only hire predators, not prey. They weren't sure how to quantify an otter, because I guess none of them had ever paid attention to any animal documentary. That job sucked. I applied to a government branch as a network admin. The ad asked for a bachelor's degree. They called me into the interview. When I got there, the first thing the interviewer said was, we wanted someone with a master's degree. Why did you apply? I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they had other interviews that day and got them mixed up. I just informed the interviewer that the ad I applied for requested a bachelor's degree and confirmed the position I was interviewing for. Them, no, we wanted a master's degree. So again, why did you apply? Me, if you wanted that, why did you call me for an interview? They called me very rude and unprofessional. Yeah, you screwed up the ad and wasted my time, but I'm unprofessional. People who exercise consistently, how do you stay motivated? You need discipline. If you rely on motivation, you have already failed. Motivation runs out quickly if you are expecting some quick result. Lots of days I have no motivation to hit the gym, but I have the discipline to go anyway. There are days where it sucks. Many days. There's only one solution. You just do it. No debate. Just go to the training session like a robot. Having attainable goals and finding something that you don't hate does help with sticking to it though. Exercise sucks when you first start. It just does. You could be relaxing watching TV or playing games. Your body is sore the next day, further lowering your interest in doing it again. It sucks, but if you keep at it, it gets better. One day you realize you're enjoying yourself. You aren't as sore the next day. You feel better than ever before. You sleep better, have more energy, more confidence. Once you build it into your routine, you'll feel bad if you ever miss a day. If sadness has a flavor, what would it taste like? Water with a flavor so faint, you know it's there, but can't tell what it is. Like that joke about LaCroix tasting like if you were drinking carbonated water and someone screamed the name of a fruit in the other room. Sadness has many flavors. It tastes like not having brushed your teeth in a week because moving is too hard. It tastes like aluminum soda cans and crackers, the only food you can be bothered to consume, if anything. Sometimes it tastes like an old comfort food, that ice cream or cake, something very close to your mother's home cooking a year after she passed away. Your ex's favorite lunch. Sometimes it tastes like a handful of pills chased by a bottle of vodka. Remember, though, as you taste the various flavors of sadness, that despite having that in your mouth, your head, your heart, you are not alone. People love you, even when you don't love yourself. You are stronger than you think you are. Your mom. What's that expensive item that's 100% worth it? Pots, pans, and knives for cooking. You don't need to spend a ton of money, but anything is better than the cheap unbranded trash. You get what you pay for and will need to change them frequently. Get a good set that lasts you over 5 years. If you are moving and you can afford it, hire movers. It can get pretty expensive, but when you have young kids and all the clutter they collect, it's so worth it. Moving is already stressful. It eliminates a huge burden at the time you need it most. A divorce. I spent a bunch of money on a good lawyer and was able to keep the house I paid for whilst helping her with constant career changes to pursue her passion of the week over our 15 married years. After how I was treated, money well spent. People who met their partners after 30, how did it happen? Yes, I wish we'd met earlier by about 5 years. As we go towards the end of our lives, I would love another day with the best person on the planet. We met the old-fashioned way, in a restaurant through a mutual friend. I had to leave town for a few months, but upon returning we quickly moved into together and married in 1990, so almost 35 years ago. We didn't have cell phones, of course, much less the internet. Fax machines were a big thing. A different world. A new neighbor moved into the second-floor studio and was chatting with me from his balcony while I worked on an art project in the yard. I thought nothing of it, until some houseguests insisted I come up and meet their friend. Small world. Weeks later he told me he was flirting with me, but I was oblivious, as usual. We had 20 wonderful years together until he died suddenly at 64. It was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but I would do it all again for another 20 years. What stupid conspiracy theories annoy you? I am competing for a promotion against a guy in the office who genuinely thinks the moon is a spaceship. He recommended a book called Who Built the Moon? It explains how the moon can't possibly be natural. He could be my boss in a few weeks. An obvious one, but the moon landing being fake. No, it wasn't. There is clear evidence of humans having been on the moon, like the mirrors you can bounce a laser off of. If the Americans had faked it, don't you think Russia would have easily proved it? The entire space race was a big dick measuring contest, with crazy impressive accomplishments all around. Don't discredit the most impressive human accomplishments because you refuse to believe that people could possibly be smarter than you. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Clearly you've never worked with metal. It's not a magic liquid temperature where it becomes weak. Metal loses its temper, which would make it brittle, and elevator shafts would work like a forge adding oxygen.